It's about making sure that there is white supremacy in this country. And if we're honest, we will say that. It is about making sure we will make sure that people who DEI is really all these code words. You used to use woke. I asked you to define what woke meant. You couldn't really define it for me. Tell me what it means again.
Woke ideology is taking extreme views of American culture and trying to tear down America from the inside out and go outside of our cultural norms and invade every corporation, university, and other institutions.
What is DEI?
That's incorrect.
Tell me that's incorrect. But what is DEI? Tell me again.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, and trying to guarantee outcomes instead of guarantee opportunity.
Trump's cabinet looks like DEI.
I was speaking. If I could just finish.
I do want us to not get off the rails because
she just said we're all white supremacists. We got to address this, don't we?
Saying a whole swath of voters and saying they voted because they're racist or misogynist, not because their
those weren't my words, yours, but go ahead.
Okay, but
you said it was about white supremacy.
I said it was
Democrats
about white
will
supremacy.
keep losing if they do that.
All the voters were white supremacists, but it's not about eggs. She said it was about pocketbook issues. It's not about pocketbook issues.
You don't think people were at all motivated by the state of the economy?
Of course they were. Absolutely. But yes, and you're smart enough to know yes, and yes, they were upset about pocketbook issues. And they're also upset about what people are.
They do have an opportunity, but we're treated to sort of similar comments to what Cari made tonight about race, white supremacy, all of Trump's ideology and people and voters and everything. It's all about white supremacy. This was rejected in the election. Democrats ran this was the animating thing of the Harris campaign, and it was rejected.
Okay.
Was it?
And I am constantly shocked at what you're not aware of, which is Donald Trump's performance.
I'm constantly shocked at what you're not aware of.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was. We aware because we won. You're not aware, and you still not aware, and you don't even know why you lost. All right, so let's get into this for once and for all. What is woke? Or at least what do you think is woke? And I want you guys to sound off in the chat as well. What do you believe is woke? All right, I want to start off with you, Nicole. What do you believe woke is?
Woke used to mean way back in the day, awareness, situational awareness, right? So if you saw something that you felt like was unjust or something that needed attention called to it, people would say, stay woke, right? This guy down the street, stay right. But nowadays, when people say woke, when we hear the word woke, it is absolutely connected to uber liberal, super progressive policies that absolutely are not woke. These are people who are definitely trying to impact our culture in a way that is regressive and not progressive, but they do it under the name of woke.
First, I came up with a definition. I came up with an acronym for woke and DEI. But before I say that, I have a fashion faux pas for, is it Abby? She's doing something I absolutely hate, and I noticed it because I hate it. She's wearing lighter color shoes than her outfit. Oh,
the white shoes and the dark green. I saw that. I wasn't going to say nothing until the behind the scenes, right?
I can't. I hate that. So I kind of, my eyes were kind of drawn there. But nevertheless, here's my acronym. I wrote it down. Woke, wickedness obscured while kindling evil. That's woke. Wickedness obscured while kindling evil. That's woke. And then for DEI, denigrating everyone's intelligence. Just denigrating, making people think that they are ignorant, or having them think like, am I really thinking this, or am I denigrating everyone's intelligence, making them think that this facade over here is the actual real deal when it's not. So those are my acronyms I came up with. Ultimately, woke, you're right, Nicole. It used to be, being aware, not having your nose go up in the clouds or buried in the sand, your head buried in the sand. But today, like everything the left does, it corrupts it. It corrupts language. It corrupts meanings. It corrupts just anything its hands touch. So therefore, we need to be, again, still the unwoke, if you will, or certainly we need to be ready to push back on these types of biddies and all of their foolishness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
I agree with both of you. I'll take it a step further. To me, wokeness for 2025, within the last 5 years, or I'll say 10 years or so, is connected to critical race theory. So it's the idea that everything in society, the main institutions, the foundations of society are currently and intentionally there to oppress us. When I say us, to oppress the minority, to oppress, everybody other than white people. And then also it includes where it's the idea that every gap in performance is largely based on that. So oppression exists, and these oppressed groups are there because of the institutionalized or systemic racism within them. That's what. And so anything that is not any outcome that is not based on the makeup of that group, of these minority groups, if it's not that, so like disparate impacts and stuff, they say is due to racism. And so we know that this all stems from critical race theory. So I have it here, Richard Delgado, who was coined sort of like the father or the founder of critical race theory. He claimed that racism is every day, everywhere, and that apparently neutral systems like standardized testing are actually structured primarily to benefit dominant groups. That is woke. It's, again, this idea that everything we do, we interact with, we see should be viewed through the lens of race.
Race, right.
Yeah. And, we always talk about these Ibram X. Kendi types. He's pushed this critical race theory and sort of like those same things, saying IQ tests and all of these things are geared towards whiteness. All that language is woke.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, you remember probably maybe like 4 years ago when we first started seeing people kind of push back about critical race theory. I think that's really when Democrats really doubled down on that kind of agenda with all the DEI and all of that. It got really, really intense for a while. And I'm so glad that President Trump has kind of put a halt to this whole thing because, everybody wants everyone else to have a fair shot at a job. It should be based on merit. You work hard, you're up on time, you're appropriately dressed for the situation. You should not have to take a back seat to somebody who's late all the time, is not ready to work, leaves early, kind of half does the job. That person and you should not be on the same playing field when it comes time for promotion or pay raises and stuff, just because he may be in a wheelchair. Do you know what I mean? We have to get beyond the point of giving bonus points for people based on things that they can't change and we can't change. I think being based on merit makes it even for everybody. You want a pay raise? Work hard. And that's what you get, right? Hopefully, if not, go to another company that's going to benefit you. But we can no longer just kind of look past people who do all the right things the right way, and all the bonuses are handed out to people who just can't get themselves together. I just think it's unfair. Uniquely unfair.